The Timex Ironman. Possible option instead of the G-Shock, or in my case, I am a G-Shock fan, obviously with the squares. This one kind of, I think, complements it, competes with it, whatever you want to say, but it definitely has my interest. In some ways, I feel that it's even better, even though I'm still drawn to the G-Shock square. So let's talk about a few things. The main thing is the visibility. Look at the size. The display size is about the same, but look how much taller and easier to read the time is. So they nail that. And then real quick, while I'm on that, the use of the indiglo, which you gotta see this. The button's easy to push, and look how bright and clear that is. Versus on the square. Can't get the camera to focus. The square is good, but man, I don't know. That Timex, man, it just is so easy to read. It just jumps out at you. So this is kind of like they call this the Ironman Triathlon 30 lap, and then it has some sort of ISO certification for the shock resistance on it. So they have that on there. There is some actual specifications regarding that claim. I don't use a ton of the features on this, so I'm not going to go in depth necessarily on how to use the watch per se. It has a chrono, it has a timer. It says 30 laps, so there's ways to time up to 30 laps. You can set it up so it chimes every hour on the hour. It can chime on button push. You can do all that. There's start and stop and split and all that stuff. This is not a multi-band, like some of the higher end ones, but I'm not even going to knock it for that because the price point. So the price point is $46.50 via Amazon Prime, which is basically right on par with the standard economy model G-Shock Square, which I think this one kind of directly competes with. The Timex is easier to use and easier to read. Also, the band is better. Not necessarily in material. I think the material is similar, but just the way it works. It has this nice keeper here that's built onto this side. Well, raised portions that grab onto the keeper on this side. So once you get it on and get it sized, it pretty much stays put. You're not going to have any issues with it. Not that I have any issues with the G-Shock moving around as far as losing the keeper or whatever, but this one's definitely secure. Almost secure to the point where if you get claustrophobic with a wrist, trying to get a watch, trying to get it off your wrist, that could occur with this. Like it is like you have to really apply yourself to get it, the strap off. So it's definitely secure. It is also a little bit thicker than the G-Shock Square. I don't know if you can see that. So I'll actually give you some measurements here. I think they said it's a 42 millimeter watch, which it is. It's 42 millimeter. The thickness, however, is 14.8. So that's definitely thicker than a square. The lug to lug, if you will, all these kind of watches are kind of weird, but around 49 millimeter. There is some different strap options. I've seen even some of my neighbors and some family members, I've seen where they've had like some Velcro straps they can switch out. I haven't really looked into that too much because the strap is, I think, adequate. It is just fine. Has a simple case back. It is water resistant. Even tells you what battery to use on it, so you don't have to take the back off and then go get the battery. You can go get the battery and then change it. 200 meters, so that stuff is all standard. tell you what, I'll pop it on my wrist. Today I was wearing it's a little dirty, the Golfman. I'll pop it on my 7 1/8 inch wrist. And it fits great. And I didn't put that in there because when I go to pop it off, with those raised portions on there, it really grabs that keeper. Like, it's a pain in the butt to get it off in a hurry, that's for sure. But it feels great on wrist. It really does. And this is a little bit tighter than I like to wear them, but because of the curvature of it and the way it fits around the wrist, it melts. Plus, it's light and everything. So, if you're going to want to run it a little bit looser, you definitely can do that. It might get some rotation on it, but if you're going to, be getting all sweaty and everything like that, I tend to want them a little bit looser so I can get some air in between there. That's totally fine. And let's just pop it off. So there is a quick look at a really good option instead of the G-Shock Square if you're looking at that aspect, or some people prefer to have the visibility aspect of this, which I'm finding with a lot of, people I'm, seeing out in the wild. I'm seeing a lot of Timex, not necessarily this specific model, but variations of it. I was drawn to this one because it's kind of like tough looking. And this is actually kind of like a reissue Timex put out in 1986. The original model, which is actually went up in value quite a bit, was quite a bit thinner. And if you look back at some old pictures of Bill Clinton, when he became president in 1993, he actually had that original version of this on his wrist. So I thought that was super cool that an actual president of the United States had a Timex Ironman on his wrist. So that was pretty cool. So good job, Bill Clinton, for making Timex, kind of cool. So that was in 1993, which I'm sure, that original version came out in 86. That's 7 years past when it came out. I'm sure that was still a current production run. So now those are super hard to find and get in good condition. So it's cool that they have this current model out. I'm not sure when this one came out, but this is a current run. It's definitely thicker than the pictures I've seen of the older one. So, but it still feels great on wrist. So definitely a great watch. If you're into these digitals and everything like that, and you're collecting them like I am, which is, I know sounds crazy to some people, but it's just fun doing these digitals and collecting all these G-Shocks and now even some of the Timex and everything. I'm having fun with it because it's so cheap, and I don't really care if I bang them up or wear them, damage them, or if they sit on a shelf or throw them in the glove box as a spare watch. So have fun with your watches. Definitely look at these Timex Ironmans. They're super cool. I'll see you on the next one.